It'd be sweet if you could repeat the question again.
Sure. How does your election platform fit into the definition you just provided for the role of student body president?
Well, the platform that I talked about, the platform I'm going to talk about, is all about everybody joining in the vision. There's three big main parts to my platform. There's the campus community, which is basically trying to figure out, we have a ton of leadership positions. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know a co-director, like 13 co-directors, and so there's just this big grouping of leadership at Taylor, and it's sort of like an explosion of leadership everywhere, and everybody's trying to do their own thing. And one of the things that I would work for is looking at the student organizations and saying, how can we unify this? And how can we say, instead of having an explosion of leadership, sort of having a trajectory for our campus and having maybe even major themes that we could all work for. So say relationships and TSO and TWO and all of the big organizations all work toward that. And then also talking about just corporate spirituality, because we have chapel, and that's the biggest thing we get to do as a campus spiritually. And that's a big, big part of Christianity. And lastly, just broadening perspectives, because we all have pretty close the same perspectives of things. And once we leave Taylor, we're going to interact with those different perspectives of other people. So finding ways that we can do that while we're here at Taylor.
Thank you, Jordan. This next question is courtesy of the Echo, and we will start with you, Mike. Why do you think you understand the needs of the student body?
Well, let's start with this. I don't necessarily know your needs. I don't necessarily know your concerns. That's something that I would like to think. I've talked to a lot of students. I like to think that I know a lot of the issues that people are concerned about on campus, but I don't necessarily. And I don't think any student body president can be right off the bat. And so that's where this openness, this community comes in. I want to hear your concerns. Go to the website, get contact, fill out the form. I'll find out about it. I'll hear about it. That's the idea, is that you can know your student government's concerns, because that doesn't necessarily happen right now. So I'm actually trying to make that a reality in very tangible and possible ways.
Thank you, Mike. Nate?
Could you repeat that, please?
Why do you think you understand the needs of the student body?
To be honest, I don't. There's 1,800 of us. We all have different wants and needs. Unlike God, He knows everything. I don't. But I think something I have advantage with is that I am a student just like all of us. So as a student, I'll be able to, interact throughout classes, throughout social events, just throughout walking in between classes and dorms and whatnot. So I think through just being a student, I'll be able to connect with all of us, and just openness, like these guys have said, if there are major concerns, they'll be heard, whether through students on campus or through hall directors or PAs. So concerns of students will happen, and just being a student, I'll be able to connect with most of the people here. And I think that's a huge advantage that I have of being a student.
Thank you, Nate. Sam?
What was the question again?
Why do you think you understand the needs of the student body?
I kind of hit on this a little earlier. It truly takes you wanting to get to know the student body, not just saying what is it that you want me to know that you need, but wanting to get to know them on other aspects, what's important to you, what do you do for fun, or what is it that you feel you want to do or that you don't see happening. And I am a really personal person. I like to get to know new people and talk to them, and that I think is going to continue on. That's continued before I got here and before I applied for this position, and it'll continue on after this position. So I really feel that that's a really good way of trying to get to that point, and I'm not at that point yet. But I am striving to get to know as many people as I can, to get to know a little bit about them before I ask them what is it that they desire for me to know. So I think that's a process, and luckily we have a couple months to finish out this year before the start of next year.
Thanks, Sam. Jordan, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Okay. Why do you think you understand the needs of the student body?
Well, I think that Nate hit on this a little bit, but like he said, I am a student, so I already know a little bit of the concerns. I mean, there have been times that I'm sure all of you have sat down with 2 or 3 different people and you've just gone, man, this thing at Taylor, I wish we could change it. Oh, this thing at Taylor, blah, blah, blah. And you do those things where you sit there and talk about those things. It's just, it doesn't happen as a campus, and it doesn't happen as a student body. And those are the things that we need to address. We need to address the things that are that we're concerned about, like, say, the binge drinking on campus last year. Everybody was talking about it, but nobody on the campus was doing anything about it, even though everybody knew about it. And then it finally reached a head, it made it to the Echo, and then the administration got involved. As a student body, we should be able to sit down and say, there's this problem that we see, and we need to come together as Christians so that we can solve it. And I think that happens best when we're just openly talking about things, and just being able to be open, I think, is one of the ways.
Thank you, Jordan. For this next question, we'll start with Nate. Please share some of the positive shaping experiences you've had at Taylor.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Please share some of the positive shaping experiences you've had at Taylor.
Some of the positive shaping experiences that I have had at Taylor. I am a member of the Taylor University football team, and I'm a proud member. EMAT for us Trojan football players here. That stands for Every Man a Trojan. And that's something, as coming into Taylor, I didn't realize. My brother will hopefully come to Taylor next year, and trying to convince him through deciding which school to come here, I've been able to share with him my positive experiences. And something that I've benefited through coming to Taylor, I have built relationships that go beyond the surface. There are guys who graduated my freshman year that I've been in their weddings and just built these huge relationships that as soon as I graduate, when I'm 55 and even fatter, and I'm playing golf, I'll be playing golf with those guys. So one of the relationships that I've built here at Taylor is just something that has been a huge positive experience in my life, because we all have high school friends, but the friends we build here at Taylor are just unbelievable.
Thank you, Nate.
You're welcome.
You're good. Yeah, that was in 1 minute, so you're good. Yes, Sam?
What was the question again?
Please share some of the positive shaping experiences you have had at Taylor.
I think every day kind of holds its own like positive experience, whether it's in a classroom or whether it's some of the other things that have happened in the past. Specifically, I remember coming in as a transition student from Taylor Fort Wayne, and just being a part of my Flora Foundation. Like, it was such a great community. I felt right away, like, wow, like people are here and they actually care about each other, and they are actually like concerned about each other, like what's going on, and having prayer times and having worship times. Also being a part of the men's soccer program here, it was a great opportunity to get to know a group of guys really well, and work out and to cry and over those long practices, and just to be able to just fight together. We really got to know each other a lot better, and we really got to be united as a team. Also, just my J-term trip this past January, going to Paraguay, I got to know a group of people from all over campus, and I'm happy to say that they are still my friends, and that I got to know them a little better through that experience. So I would say every day has its own experience, and it's definitely being involved and being intentional with people.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, Jordan?
Some of the most positive shaping experiences I've had at Taylor, first off, would be living on my floor of penthouse. There you go. It's been really cool just being able to bond together with 80 guys, and just say, let's do life together. And I've been a PA on penthouse for the past 2 years, which has been cool, being able to be shepherded by other guys and to shepherd. And then another thing that's been really shaping has been the mission trip programming that Taylor has. I went to Bolivia my sophomore year over spring break, and then this past J-term I went to Ethiopia. And both of those experiences have been really, really foundational in my faith and how I interact with people, and just going across the ocean and being able to see different perspectives of different people. It's made me be able to look back in at Taylor and see Taylor from a different perspective, and then be able to come back and say, these are ways that I see we can improve it from the outside. So I think that those are some of the really shaping ways that I've grown at Taylor.
Thank you, Jordan. Yes, Mike?